lot of it's just a lot weird.
Yeah.
So just know you don't have to sing out quite as much, even with the lines going up. Yes.
The turnaround for the tenors, where we go from, we're on a D, and then we go back to the G at the beginning. Can you show us how you're indicating that? Because I think we don't.
It's a little cut off, then it becomes the breath.
Okay, so we have a little time to breathe.
Time, and then we're back in.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And then the next time we do it, it's not cut off time, it's a cut off and deep breath.
Right.
As treacherous as it is for us to miss the intonation, all we're going to do. Okay, go to adieu, because we're going to run out of time with your tones right now. Thankfully, I don't have to pray today. There's not many people here, so we can get away with it.
It'll be a different walk-up.
Yeah.
I'm going to do very little conducting, just so you know. But I can move this a little more so that I can kind of see them a bit better. he rests, it's too slow, I'll go. He gets back up to tempo before we come back in. We'll leave it there. It should be fun. Just keep it bright, keep it open, sing it like it's going somewhere. Nice start. It'll be in the ballpark.
Good morning, and welcome to the Universalist Church, in which love is the Spirit. We're glad you're here, whether you're here in the sanctuary or today or anywhere in the world. I'm Joe Wilson, one of your representatives on the Board of Trustees. If you are a visitor, we hope you'll sign one of our guest books at either entrance to the sanctuary, or you can visit our webpage, www.westhartforduu.org, to learn more. There you can use the contact page, get onto our electronic mailing list. Our electronic communications are the best way for us to all stay connected. We look forward to helping you become part of the Universalist Church. We're in the season of increased respiratory illnesses, so our ushers have masks to share if you need or if you would prefer one. We encourage everyone these days to be careful with your health and the health of others. After worship today, we'll have a gathering led by our consultants and worship leaders, Barry Finkelstein and the Reverend Lydia Ferrante-Roseberry, in the Program Center directly behind here. They're going to give us their initial reflections about the possibility of a capital campaign in our future. There will also be fellowship in Fisk Hall and through Zoom. If you need help finding your way to Fisk Hall for our fellowship hour, any member of the church will be happy to guide you. Just look for someone wearing Universalist Church name tag or follow the smell of coffee. You can find the link for Zoom fellowship in your weekly news or our Breeze calendar. And if you aren't getting the weekly news, please do sign up for it on our website. And now, I invite you to take a moment to make your mobile phone silent, turn off your email, put away those keyboards, and settle in for worship.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Lydia Ferrante-Roseberry. It's been my delight to be here this weekend. I'm looking out at a lot of faces that I've already seen and gotten a chance to talk to this weekend, as me and my colleague, Barry Finkelstein, have come to help this congregation think about its next steps for the future. Our chalice lighting words are from a religious educator named Lila Ibrahim. You are not in church to be with people who want to sing the same music or rally for the same cause or attend the same retreat. We are in church to learn to love better. And learning to love better can only happen when we love past our disappointments and return to a place of acceptance and affirmation. This is true in our personal lives, in our work lives, and in our church lives. It is a deep spiritual practice. I find these words to be so apt for a decidedly universalist church where love is the spirit. Love and love alone creates a willingness to extend ourselves to enhance well-being for ourselves, for our families, our friends, and our community. Today, as we talk about what these times ask of us, and of our community, let us do so grounded in love, the sustaining force of our lives. Let us use this time and this place to do the most important thing we can do with one another, to learn to love better. If you happen to have a chalice at home, please light it with us while I light the congregation's chalice. Thank you. Please join me in singing hymn number 10008 in the Teal hymnal, Rise in Body or Spirit, in the sanctuary or wherever you are. Sing together.
Let's join together in speaking the words of our affirmation, our covenant. It's printed in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please be seated.
Good morning. Good morning. Can I have some kiddos up here? I'd love to see some young ones, some younglings as I call them. Hey, Ella. So I have a story. Actually, let me come up here a little bit more so you all can hear me. So I have a story this morning. Would you like to sit right here? No. No. which is a place very different from here, even though it's pretty close by. And one thing that's really different about it is, to get places here, you mostly drive, right? To get places in New York, you take an underground train called a subway. And it's the fastest, easiest, cheapest way to get around, but I tell you what, it's pretty gloomy. It can be loud, it can be crowded, it can be kind of dirty sometimes. Well, when I lived there, my best friend in the city, his name was Jerry, and we worked in the same building. We went out together on the weekends, and so we rode the subway together all the time. And so that made it way more fun, right? You do something together with someone, it's way more fun. So the other thing, if you were lucky, that made the subway more pleasant was you'd walk down those gloomy stairs into the subway and you would find something special every once in a while. And I bet there's a few musicians in here who know exactly what I'm talking about. So you would find musicians on the platform where you would stand to wait for your train playing music. You might find this beautiful, tall, young woman playing the flute, or an old man with a gray beard playing drums, or another person playing guitar. Sometimes you might find an a cappella group singing. Wow, that was something, to hear that kind of echoing through the platform. So if you were lucky, you got that little bit of magic down in the gloomy subway. And Jerry, my friend, would always stop and listen. Always stop and listen. Sometimes, every once in a while, we would be too busy and we'd have to pass by, but he would try his best to stop and listen. Now, I have to back up a second. Once upon a time in New York City, you had to carry cash everywhere you went because not everybody took credit cards. And so when you walked out of your apartment in the morning, you had to have a good amount of cash on you to get through the day. And so Jerry always had dollar bills or $5 bills or even a bit of change in his pocket. And he made a promise to himself. He said that every time I have time to stop and listen to a musician in the subway, I'm going to give them half of whatever is in my pocket. So, if he had $1 and that's all he had, what would he give them? What's half of $1? 50 cents. If he had $10, he would give $5. If he had 20, he'd give. If he had $100 on him that day, he would give the musician $50. Why do you think he did this? Why do you think he did this? You don't know.
I know.
You know?
I said I didn't know.
You didn't know? Well, I tell you, every time he stopped to listen to them, it put a huge smile on his face, and he would say to me, you know what, Patricia, I don't know anything. I don't have a lick of sense, he would say, about music. And I think what these people do is so amazing. So why do you think he made that promise to himself? Show his appreciation. It made his heart happy. Honor their talent.
It's a ritual.
A ritual.
So they could keep playing.
So he told me exactly why. He said, look, I never want to come down here and find out that these people have just disappeared. I want this magic to always be here in my city. And so this is how I'm supporting that. So Jerry decided to support these folks with money, but we can support people who need a little extra something in many different ways, by sharing food, by just spending time with each other, sometimes by just being kind, right? So today, we have a project in church school where we're going to make something special for some folks who are in a little bit of need right now. Would you like to find out all about what that is? Yeah? So we're going to do that while they sing us out to church school.
Go down, please, may the soul of
So some of you may have had children disappear, and you might not know where they are yet. They've gone off to their classes, and parents are always welcome to come and join them. So if you are looking for your child or want to make sure that you know exactly what's happening, you are welcome to head back behind the sanctuary toward the program center, and Patricia should be there and will be able to let you know exactly what's going on. That said, children are always welcome in the sanctuary through the entire service.
So while the children are doing a little project behind me, I have a little request of you. You should have found in your seats an index card. Are there index cards in the pews? Excellent. Great. And to use that index card, you're going to need something to write on. So maybe you have a pen or a pencil on you, or there's little pew pens or something. And if you don't have one, there's probably someone near you who has one you can share. So in the spirit of love, which is the foundation of this congregation, which calls forth the impulse of creative visions to enhance our well-being, it is love that does that, calls us forth to look towards the well-being, the nurturing, the growth of another. In that spirit, I invite you to use those cards that you see, that you have in front of you, and fill in the rest of this sentence. I would like this church to be more ... I would like this church to be more... and then you fill that in. And you don't have to fill this part in, but it's worth thinking about. After you've gotten your I would like this church to be more, you can think to yourself about what you would do to help it be more that way. These cards will be collected by the ushers during the offering, and then at the forum following the service, I will read some of them back to you, and we will definitely provide them as part of our report for the congregation. Thank you.
I'm going to give you just another couple moments to write without doing the next part. If you haven't completed your card by the time the ushers come around to collect the offering, just know that you can hang on to it, and we'll be happy to gather it at the end of the service and make sure that Barry and Reverend Lydia get them for our forum. Our voluntary offering, the sharing of our resources for our shared work as a religious community, is a spiritual practice for us. By offering your time, talent, and treasure to this community, you help us to serve our members, friends, and wider community of the congregation as well. So as part of that service, we share our general offering each week with organizations that do work in the world that help us build beloved community. This month, we share our offering with Swords to Plowshares Northeast. They focus on reducing gun violence by building coalitions of community groups, religious organizations, police departments, hospitals, and businesses. They aim to be the go-to civilian source for managing gun buybacks and repurposing firearms into gardening tools that are then donated to community gardens or other agricultural training programs. To give electronically, you can use the QR codes on your order of service, the links in the description online, or those on our website to make your donation to our offering. And here in the sanctuary, our offering will now be gratefully received. May these gifts sustain the life of this community, the work that we do together, and help sustain the wider world of which we are most certainly a part as well. Thank you. Thank you. Please rise, in body or in spirit, as we speak our congregational reading. It's number 444 in the Great Hymnal. Number 444. It's called This House. I'll read the words in Roman type, and together we'll read the words in italics. This house is for the ingathering of nature and human nature. It is a house of friendships, a haven in trouble, an open room for the encouragement of our struggle. It is a house of freedom, guarding the dignity and worth of every person. It offers a platform for the free voice, for declaring, both in times of security and danger, the full and undivided conflict of opinion. It is a house of truth-seeking, where scientists can encourage devotion to their quest, where mystics can abide in a community of searchers. It is a house of art, adorning its celebrations with melodies and handiworks. It is a house of prophecy, outrunning times past and times present in visions of growth and progress. This house is a cradle for our dreams, the workshop of our common endeavor. We'll join in singing our doxology. It's in your order of service and the description online. Share with you on behalf of the congregation this morning. Tracy W. is at another turning point in her cancer journey, with some surgery and a change in systemic treatments ahead. She and Beth B. and the whole family are grateful for everyone's love and support, and want you to know how much it helps to have that care in place as they keep working to find the right treatment for this moment and into the future. So we hold Tracy today in our hearts and our thoughts and our prayers, in our arms and our deep, deep care. Please join with me in a time of prayer and meditation. As the world around us awakens once again, green shoots bursting forth, the earliest flowers already in bloom, we enter another season of observance, where we watch that growth, and we also note that today we are in this season where we observe the start of Ramadan. Soon will come Good Friday and Easter and Passover, and our child dedication and Earth Day and Flower Communion. In all of these, there are so many stories and traditions that we continue and that we wrestle with, and some that we set down, and some that we reimagine. In all these observances, we practice awareness and sacrifice. We consider suffering, compassion, and generosity. We choose love of children, love of our planet, love of community. We await daffodils and new green leaves and the spring peepers that assure us that all of life, in its glory and its striving, continues. and that we too, in all our glory and all our striving, our wrestling and our reimagining and our practice, well, that is how we continue. That is how we participate in this great life. Let us take a time in stillness together for the prayers of our hearts. May we, inspired by our traditions, our stories, hold on to what is good, set aside that which is evil. May we, inspired by the renewal of life around us, choose to renew ourselves and our lives and our community in joy and in love. May it be so. Amen.
Our reading is There Is an Edge, Ode to Radical Imagination, by Adrienne Marie Brown, who writes on culture, justice, and ways to thrive while changing the world. There's an edge beyond which we cannot grasp the scale of our universe. That border, that outer boundary, is imagination. The only known edge of existence, the only one we can prove by our universal experience. We can imagine so much. We can only imagine so much. If perhaps it is a function of our collective minds, a dream of our endless nights, then there will be abundance so long as we can imagine it. Abundance on earth, if we can imagine it. Or abundance of earths, a sphere for every tribe and every combination. And to have it all we need is to remember there is an edge and grow beyond our dreams and grow our dreams beyond it.
There are moments when I feel like, let me take a step back. This year is my 7th year here in this congregation. It's, well, thank you. But it's mind-boggling to me that that's the case, in part because we had so much time from COVID that just kind of feels like it was one weird, long year. It kind of feels like I've only been here for 4. But that's not true. And in this time, we have been talking about our congregation's bicentennial celebration, our 3rd century awareness, since, 2019. It's now 2024. We said it was in 2021 that it was happening, and life has made it difficult to just fully engage with that the whole time. What that means is that we've also been talking about the possibility of a capital campaign since before COVID. We started our visioning work that wrapped up in the spring of 2020 before COVID. We've had a lot of time to think about who we are going to be in our 3rd century. Who will we become? In 1829, so only a few years after this congregation was formed, William Ellery Channing, a Unitarian minister, said, "People can do jointly what they cannot do singly. The union of minds and hands creates wonders. People grow efficient by concentrating their powers. They gain warmth and earnestness. The heart is kindled. People droop in solitude." It's true. No sound excites us like the voice of a fellow creature. The mere sight of a human countenance brightened with strong and generous emotion gives us strength. That's actually what we've been talking about for all of these years, whether in terms of a capital campaign or a bicentennial celebration, or every Sunday when we come together, or the justice and action work we do in the world. People can do jointly what they cannot do singly. And that's a big part of why we are here, why this congregation exists, because we get stuff singly out of being here. But it exists because we do it jointly. I've had the good fortune to be in conversation with Barry and Reverend Lydia a number of times in the past few weeks, and quite a lot in the past few days. They have offered good wisdom and encouragement, asked really good questions, and have assured us that they will be with us through our process of discernment and imagination as companions and supports as we figure out these next steps. Who will we be? How will we get there? And so I'm very happy to invite into our pulpit Barry Finkelstein.
Furniture rearranging here. Well, thank you, Reverend Adam. It is good to be with all of you here in this beautiful sanctuary and those online joining us. And I wanted to start by mentioning, in case you don't know how wonderful your music program is, I don't really know how this magic happened, but I announced the title of my talk on Thursday, I believe. And here we have all this music about time. So I know maybe you've been working on this for longer, or maybe you found it all since Thursday, but I'm impressed, I'll say that. I'm impressed. The other thing I'll say in terms of synchronicity is just last week, I told a story at another congregation about a time when I was on the New York City subway where I grew up, and I got to hear a violin player, which I thought was going to be annoying, play a beautiful version of Libertango. I don't know if any of you know Libertango by Piazzolla, but it's a fabulous piece, and this was just beautiful, and it made my day. And so it was nice to hear about the subway. So as they say, may you live in interesting times. Well, we do indeed live in interesting times, don't we? Challenging, rapidly changing, uncertain, we're not really sure where we are right now. We're somewhere coming out of a 4-year pandemic and not really sure what steady state looks like, but we know there's no going back to the old normal. We're experiencing major political upheaval in our country and around the world, facing critical threats from climate change, gun violence, as we heard earlier, as well as threats to voting rights, reproductive rights, racial justice, free and open libraries and schools, our LGBTQ plus friends and family, and trans folks. So yes, we do live in interesting times, but the good news is that these interesting times cry out for Unitarian Universalism and for this Universalist Church of West Hartford. I ask you, has there ever been a time where our life-affirming faith and love at the center of our faith and our message and our commitment as UUs have ever been more needed? Now I know, as Reverend Adam just reminded us, that you have had a capital campaign in your sights for a long time now, going way back even before I was here. Many of you may remember I was here way back in 2008 and 9 and 10, and we were thinking about a capital campaign back then too. And of course, that time we got derailed by the financial crisis, and this time you got delayed by COVID, which of course got in the way of aligning this campaign nice and neatly with your 200th birthday. So it's all about time. Well, not all, but some of it is about time, including our energizing and beautiful music this morning. Now, my wife and I moved to Alexandria, Virginia in 2019 to be near our 2 granddaughters. And after settling into our new home, we started planning a joyous, wonderful, big housewarming party, a chance to reconnect with old friends and meet the new neighbors and just have a great time. The fall of 2020 seemed perfect, until of course it didn't, just like your 200th anniversary celebration. So as we say, the best laid plans. So what to do? We made new plans, and that's exactly what we did. We finally did have our big bash last year in 2023, once people were at least somewhat comfortable socializing. And I have to say, it was every bit as much fun as we had imagined, even if it was 3 years late. So if we can have a housewarming party 3 years late, you can have a 200th birthday celebration 3 years late also, or 4 years late, to kick off a capital campaign. It's really about time, isn't it? Capital campaigns are about about time in another, maybe more important way. Since 2007, when I started working as a UU stewardship consultant, I've worked with somewhere around 120 congregations and helped with about 30 or so capital campaigns, and I've learned many things from our UU friends around the country about the ingredients for a successful campaign. And one thing stands out. Success demands that we rally together at one point in time, pooling our energy, our excitement, and our money to enable us to do fabulous things. Think about the hymn we sang about how our heart is in a holy place when we are deeply together, when we see our faces in each other's eyes and our voices in each other's voice. I'm sure I'm butchering the words. It's about time to come together with as much money as we can each invest in the next 100 years of this wonderful church, the 3rd century. It's about being creative and committed and encouraging one another to do your very best. If you think about it, many of the things that we do with our time and our energy and our money can be done at almost any time. But if you want this to happen, now is the time. And this is easier than it sounds. It turns out that Unitarian Universalists love capital campaigns pretty much as I do, really. I do not lie. And they rise to the occasion. It's magic. Those of us blessed with significant assets recognize the importance of lead and major gifts. And those of us with limited means are excited to learn how they can contribute as well. A corollary of coming together at this one time is that it takes everyone. You definitely need some of the large gifts. 5- and 6-figure gifts will be needed to make this happen. And sometimes higher, and sometimes we find those gifts. But we also want 100% participation, and that's just as important. So it's about time. Now is your time, your turn to invest in the future of the Universalist Church here. You're building on the broad shoulders of the founders from, 1821, some number like that. The people who dedicated this building in the 1930s, the church members who pooled their resources to do several additions, I know in the 1960s, and finance your last capital campaign in 1997. It's your turn now. There'll be much more to say and learn and share as we move toward a capital campaign. Much excitement and envisioning a grander future for this church, one that is more accessible, sustainable from an energy and environmental standpoint, and also fully sustainable from a financial perspective. One that's even more of a beacon and a haven in this community, building on your wonderful outward-facing ministries and beyond. One that builds on your assets, your history, your strengths, the wonderful things you are doing and have been doing through the ages. Accessibility, sustainability, community, social justice, taken together in service of your mission and supporting the potential for future growth. A grand third century future is indeed in store for you, and it all begins now in this time. So I ask you, look around for a couple of seconds. Take in the wonder of the people sitting nearby. Just take a look. All of you, your church family, your church friends, coming together, that's what it will take to make the magic of a capital campaign happen. To invest not just in the building, but in the community and in promoting Unitarian Universalist values in this area and around the world. Values so badly needed right now. Think of those threats I spoke of earlier. Each of those threats is also an opportunity to take our UU faith out into the world and promote the mission areas that speak the most powerfully to this church. Whether it's reproductive justice, voting rights, climate change, embracing LGBTQ and trans people, racial justice, whatever we're called to do. A capital campaign is also a great opportunity to strengthen your church community. I tell congregations that the magic of capital campaigns is at least as much about community building as it is about building. To be successful will require the contributions, and I'm not talking here about money, of just about all of you. Whatever your passions, your skills, your gifts, whether you're a great cook or a baker, a graphic artist, a person who can inspire kids to create wonderful artwork, a party planner, a videographer, whatever, the campaign can use you. And every moment that you contribute will have a multiplier effect, inspiring others and helping build the momentum and enthusiasm that's needed. So make this campaign a priority for this time. Focus your time, your special gifts, and your money to all come together and make this happen. Now, more good news, we know how to do capital campaigns. That's the royal we. We know how to do them. We've done them for many years, many decades, long before I was doing this work. And as I said earlier, UUs really do love them, and you will come to love them too, I can assure you. And we know what it takes to make them successful. We know the ingredients and the steps. And as Reverend Adams said, we'll be here to walk with you to get this all going and moving. And I'll have more to say about these steps in the open forum afterwards, where Reverend Lydia and I will give you our report. But really, there are so many senses in which capital campaigns are about time. One of them is that these steps take time. Kind of like I'm a bread baker, and one of the things I've learned is that you have to have patience. And I'm not all that a patient person generally, but you've got to let the dough rise. And some of the steps in a capital campaign are like that. We have to let the dough rise. So it's going to take some time to get this done. We'll lay out kind of a timeline after the service. But the time is needed to build up enthusiasm, to develop the project that you want to invest in, and to really come together. Now, there's no excuse not to do this great thing that has been on your horizon for too long, through no fault of yours. Now is the time, and it's about time to go forth and get this done. So please, as we get ready to sing We'll Build a Land, hymn number 121, keep in mind some of the words that I really like in this hymn. Think about being a people anointed by God as we move forward towards this third century and capital campaign. So please rise as you are willing and able, and join in singing hymn 121.
Let's speak together our unison benediction. It is in your order of service and the description online. Engage with the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen